So we do it live.
Are we live though?
We're live. We're always live. And this time not by accident. So, finally, the people have been waiting for the third annual Predator shits. And boy, is this a good one. It gets my seal of approval on it's the first real Predator movie.
Really?
uh, which is great. Because
I figured you'd like this one.
It's a Predator movie all the way through.
Right. It's got all
There's
the action.
Yeah, there's no like
Triple the excitement.
triple the excitement. Get down again.
It literally has double the action because all the other ones only had action in the second half.
Right.
Action
There's no movie laundering. We didn't have to sit through like a different movie.
laundering.
We didn't have to
it
pretend
works.
it was,
That's true. Yeah.
Something else. Like this isn't, pretending to be a buddy cop or an action film. I said, no, this is a fucking Predator movie. Let's go. First 5 minutes. I said, oh baby. Also, Machete was in there. It's over.
His name is not Machete. It's Cuchillo.
Oh, sorry. It's Machete forever.
Yeah, that was my boy. Robert Rodriguez.
Danny Trejo,
Oh.
you shit.
No, Robert Rodriguez was the producer for this film. He
Oh.
got Machete in this. If Machete is in it, the odds are maybe Robert Rodriguez is somewhere involved.
I guess that makes sense.
Robert Rodriguez made the Machete movie, by the way.
Right. What's her name? Plays in it too.
Isabel.
Yeah. Which, speaking of, as soon as I saw her character, I said, "Motherfucker, is that Michelle Rodriguez again?"
It's not.
It's not. They look very similar, and they actually both played
Racist.
in Suicide Squad, which I thought was funny.
Racist.
I'm not racist. They look the same. I'm sorry.
Racist.
It's not my fault if all Latina fucking strong independent women who play action heroes all look alike.
Racist.
It's their racist for making them all look the same.
You're racist.
It's like fucking, what's his name? Matt Damon and Leonardo DiCaprio. Or Mark Wahlberg, whichever one. All three of those look exactly the same.
They do. They do look exactly the same.
But no, yeah, I think it's like, overall, that was like the first, like, what do you call it? First thing I noticed, though, was like, yeah, the cast looks really cool. They got Eddie Brock from fucking Spider-Man. I said, hey. And I can't remember. I've seen that dude before, the main character dude with the really big nose.
He was in Houdini.
Huh.
But he's also like a big time actor.
Which is funny, too, because, like, I don't know.
The only thing I know him from is Houdini, but I know he's been in a lot of things.
Oh, right. It's like I remembered him, but I didn't remember him. Like, I don't know what he plays in, but he looks really familiar. Let's see.
The inmate guy was the bad guy from Ant-Man.
Was it?
Ant-Man 2. I don't know if you watched Ant-Man 2.
No, I've seen all of them. Who was the bad guy in number 2? I thought the bad guy was like it wasn't Lawrence Fishburne. No, it was.
Oh wait, no, Lawrence Fishburne was the bad guy number 2.
Was it him?
Yeah, he was the bad guy number 2. Kind of. There was like two bad guys because there was the guy in the front. Whenever they're like, it's the truth serum. It's not truth serum.
Because that was like, yeah, that was the scientist guy who was like trying to save that girl from disappearing.
Yes, that was Fishburne.
Was that him?
That was Fishburne's character, yeah.
Okay.
And the Fishburne was in this movie.
Right. I said, it's Fishburne. Let's fucking go, dude. So excited when he showed up. Then that bastard betrayed him? I said, you motherfucker. How could you?
He's a scavenger.
Right. He did pretty good as like a psychotic crazy guy too. What's funny is his invisible friend wanted to save them.
Yeah.
When he's like fanning the flames, he said 6 more mouths to feed and you want to do this? No. I'm not going to do this, bro. Fucking great. I don't know. It's hard to really say anything about the movie. I figured it would flow easier because it's just a solid, cool movie.
Yeah.
But maybe that's why I don't feel like there's anything to say about it. Because it was just cool.
There's a lot of death, a lot of shooting.
Right.
Hey, were you the one that told me that in like Russian they don't have like I am or I'm and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Um,
that a lot of the stuff they just say it
did you
like
did you notice when Nikolai introduced himself? He said Nikolai and said I'm Nikolai. Um,
right.
he corrected himself because he's speaking English now. Uh,
Yeah, no, language is cool. It's always funny like that.
so it was a cool little small detail that I liked.
They
There was
had
a
a
lot of
f-
those like cool little interactions. I think like people like the convict was Stans, that was his name. He's the one who asked Fishburne. Like he looked kind of like whoa, like pained, and he was like, "How long you been here?"
right,
Like, and it makes sense that he would ask that because it's like prison, right?
right.
Um, I was like, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, no, that was sick. Even like too, like the stupid doctor fucker. Oh my god, I'm so mad. I'm still mad.
Why you hate the doctor?
But
Why you hating on the doctor?
they got me though. They actually fucking got me. Cause when it started, I was like,
Yeah.
oh look, they gave him a healer. And I really thought that's what it was going for. I was like, yeah, they dropped a bunch of goons, and then since they have fancy technology, they gave him a healer, so in case they got hurt, it'd make the hunt more fun. And then that fucker started doing like scummier shit and hasn't healed anybody the whole movie. And I was like, wait a minute, this guy's a
Doctor?
fucking
Yeah.
scumbag. And then
He is.
eventually found out he really is a scumbag, and I said, oh, no.
He
Like
plays
it,
those scumbag characters pretty well. Eddie Brock and this one.
right? I will say though, I didn't like him as much as Eddie Brock because he was still a whiny bitch.
Yeah.
And to me, Eddie Brock is like buff and cool. Like I don't know. I definitely like the newer Venom actor than I think he did. He didn't do a bad job by any means, but I don't know. I didn't see it. Every time he would complain or start crying about something, I'm like, ah, you're too whiny. Eddie's supposed to be at least kind of cool. He's distraught. I think Eddie was always like a little distraught and a little like he was a sad boy sometimes, but he never
Mhm.
seemed whiny. Um, but that's neither here nor there. He did a great job as this character. Because this fucker seems like a whiny bitch. He's the kind of guy who would, like, paralyze somebody and then fucking slowly kill him, but if he's ever in an altercation, help me, please! But now, you see that he took that guy's family photo?
Mhm.
That's so fucked.
When dude, I told you I fell asleep the first time watching this because I was real sleepy and tired. I I fell asleep before they followed Fishburne. Like right when they met Fishburne, I was falling asleep, and I fell asleep before he betrayed them and shit. And I
Mm.
woke up later, and he later on in the movie, and I was like, I'll watch the rest of it, and then I'll watch the from where I slept later. And I saw that when he was holding the picture, and he was like, "These are my kids." I'm like, "There's no way those are his kids." And I didn't, and then I didn't have the context because I was sleeping during that part where he actually stole the shit.
Right.
Uh, Shit was funny.
Yeah, overall, I think the cast was pretty cool. It it played almost like a video game or like a
Yeah.
comic.
Hmm.
It definitely didn't feel like a movie, like a regular movie, I guess. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it did feel, I don't know, empty. I think that's the biggest thing I have for this movie is that overall throughout it, I was never really gripped. Like
Hmm.
a good action film, and I could name the whole fucking list, but dude, I'm like gripped. I'm like, oh baby, what the fuck's gonna happen next? How are they gonna get here? When are they gonna do this? Oh man, what happens if they meet these people? There's just always something I'm like on the edge of my seat for. And this
Hmm.
movie, even when it had action bits, I was like, yeah, cool. Like, I don't know, it was not a very enthralling movie.
Definitely not.
But I
No.
can't think of anything it did wrong. Like, I mean, it had the action.
Uh, it ended super ambiguous.
Yeah, I did see that, right? He's like, well, we need to go do something or whatever. And then, like, they just left the people who were, like, falling in? What did he say?
Yes.
I don't know if I have it here. No, he didn't. I don't have it written down what he said, but he said something to her and then he just fucking dipped. I'm like, what? You're not gonna save those people?
No.
And then, like, it's funny, they start walking, and I'm like, where the fuck are they going? There's no. Fishman already told you. There's no preserve. This entire fucking planet is their planet. You're not gonna go anywhere and find anything. So where are they walking? Just a little weird.
Yeah.
There was a few little nitpicks I had. Like in the beginning when that fucker randomly is like, I work alone. Fly home, buddy. I was just like, what? I was like, where the fuck
It
did that
broke.
come from? Because minutes later, he was like leading the pack. Um, what did he say? Um, he said earlier, or no, he was with the whole group when they were like all together, and what he said, we need to stick together. I think is one thing, and then he says you shouldn't follow me. And then earlier when they were talking to what's her name, he said like strength in numbers. She said yeah, something like that, and then he went along with them, like clearly showing that it was okay. They were all working together, and I'm like, so what the fuck is this about? I'm tipping off by myself all of a sudden. It felt a little weird. They dropped it immediately, and it's not a huge point.
Yeah.
But I was like, just a little weird. Also, another tiny nitpick. There's a few of those. She said, "Want to see something fucked up?" And then she shows him like a little compass, I guess, and like it's spinning in all directions. And I'm like, okay, how the fuck did she know that? Has she had
Maybe she was,
time to
maybe
like?
she was trying. Well, no, that's the way to make a compass essentially with water and a leaf. It's very simple. I actually learned that in like fourth or fifth grade. Um,
No, not that. I'm talking about how would she know that the magnetic is fucked up unless she's already done it?
she made the compass. She made that with the leaf and the
But
shit.
they were still walking. They were walking together, meaning she would not have had the time to like put it together and stop and test it and notice this because
No, that's what I'm
she was
saying.
still talking to him.
It's the when she was doing. Okay, I don't know. I gotta go back and look then see if it was like right away. Wait,
Yeah,
maybe
because they
maybe
were
she.
walking out of the forest. They were like they had been walking the whole time in the forest. They get to a clearing. She says, "We need to stop and rest." He turns, says, "Fuck you, bitch. You rest if you want to. I'm leaving." And then she says, "You want to see something fucked up?" As he's about to walk away, like to stop him from leaving, and then shows him this compass that she, I guess, already knew would be spinning.
Mhm.
But I'm like, when did you build and test that? Maybe she did when she landed. Maybe the first thing she did. But then I'm like, well, how much time did she have? Because they've shown at least what seems to be that they dropped them all at the exact same time.
Yep.
Even the second row of parachutes all dropped at the same time. So when the fuck did this happen? Again, not important at all.
I
But at
feel like
least
you're making it seem like it was like really, really a lot closer than it was. But I think that she stopped, crouched down and made a compass real quick when she saw the puddle. I was like, hey, I can make a thing with the leaf and this real quick.
well, she
And
wouldn't have
then
time to do that based on how they shot the dialogue, or like because it was them talking and then he turned and walked away, and it was the very next shot as he's walking away. We'll say it's 15 seconds. I don't know how fast she can build them things, but
it's pretty quick. And I mean, I
but
learned how to
also
do that
she
in like
said
fourth
it
grade.
before. She said it as he started walking away, which means it wouldn't have been built yet.
Yeah.
So she
I wasn't.
still wouldn't.
I didn't pay any attention to it, so I'd have to see how like close together it was.
Right.
That
And it's
that
also
time.
not important at all, but it's just little
Yeah.
things that like I don't know. The movie wasn't so strong starting off. It was cool, but
Yeah.
then I guess like when you start showing stuff like that, I'm like, just do better. Like it doesn't really matter in terms of the whole movie. That's a throwaway scene you don't even need in the first place.
Right.
But I just hate it
It just showed
sometimes.
the magnetics were off.
Yeah, but who
We, wa-
cares?
we weren't on our planet
Well,
anymore.
that's cool. I mean, the scene itself of like, yeah, showing how fucked up it is. They do it in every movie. Like it seems like anyway. Any foreign place, they open a compass, it's spinning wildly. What does this mean? Um, so definitely the whole compass cliche is sure it's fine, but I think it's just these little dialogues and little things that I'm like, just don't do that. It's not hard to write believable, cohesive, continuity built dialogue. I guess not really. I mean, if you're trying to make it like this all-star movie, it's probably more difficult if you're trying to really have these intricate conversations that lead into all these things. This is a fucking action movie. Just keep it simple. But that's more or less like nitpicky. I don't know why I cared so much, but
Yeah, it was that's
um,
kind of like yeah. I would say you can do that so quickly. I think it's whatever. I don't think it's that big a deal.
let's see. Um, that fucker says, "Somebody give me a gun. You get a gun. You get a gun. I need a fucking gun." Oh
That
man,
was funny.
that guy was really well done. I liked his character. He's a piece of shit, but it works out. 'Cause he's also like still kind of regular. You know, like he's fucked up in the head, but he's still a regular dude. Because I think it's like a nice way to portray characters like that in a way. It's like yeah, they're a little fucked up in the head, but they're not just like brain dead or monsters or, incapable of understanding regular human thought processes, which is
Mm.
normally, I think, how they get like portrayed or even understood by people who are not around anyone like that. And it
Yeah.
just becomes this weird, like, like they're just this different being. It's like, no, he's a regular dude. He was just sitting there having a chat, right? He's like, yeah, when I get out of here, man, I'm gonna go rape a bunch of bitches and do a bunch of coke, dude. I can't
Well,
wait.
when you're in that environment where you're talking to a lot of people like that, it gets so comfortable to talk like that.
Right.
Um,
And that's what I mean. That he's just a normal dude talking about like hobbies that him and his friends have engaged in. It's not that he's like, some fucking crazy psychopath or whatever, you know what I mean? Or he's like off the charts like crazy. It's just what he does. It's become normal for him. The only one I think I didn't like is they took it too far, and this is again that sort of like stereotype they're just crazy. Is when he had like a picture of that hot bitch and like, yeah, that's my sister. I was like,
that
okay,
wasn't a picture. That was a tattoo.
well, you know what I meant.
Yeah.
But I thought
I thought he was being sarcastic because the guy said, "Is that your girlfriend too?" And he said, "That's my sister."
it could have been if it was a joke that's also really on point for his character.
Right? Because
Um,
he's like, bro, isn't it obvious? It's just a fucking tattoo. like, I ain't got no girl. I'm in fucking prison.
right. She had like some elaborate ass name too,
Yeah.
which I think adds to that. That's pretty funny. So yeah, looking at it in that light, I think that's actually a lot more funny because yeah, I thought they were going for the whole like, see, he's just crazy and demented on all fronts. He'd fuck a dog because he's so weird and crazy. I'm like, dude, not everyone who's a piece of shit, murderer, whatever, it's just like fucking crazy or weird, or you know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're a little fucked up, but they're not like these different being levels of fucked up. So I thought he was pretty well done. Um, Dude, Machete was the first to go. I'm so sad. Somehow I knew it would happen too. I said, you better not be the first one to go. Sure enough.
I thought it was gonna be the inmate guy, but he had a little uh moment towards the end I liked. So
Dude, his moment was cool. He starts talking shit. I said, you didn't kill anybody. Shut up. You didn't do literally anything, you bitch. And then he gets shot in the back. I said, see? That's what you get. And then that fucker comes back. He had the armor on. I said, oh, he's back. He's alive. And like all of a sudden cared about him again.
then died.
That shit was cool. Speaking of that scene, did you notice the fucking nuclear bomb that he had stored in that landmine?
Yeah.
The fuck was that shit, dude?
Oh fuck it.
And then of course they had the hero escape when the fire comes out of the thing. The last
Yeah.
second, we rolled away from the fire. I said, Jesus, it has to be in every movie, doesn't it?
It does.
And then later on, they have like what 7 grenades on that doctor's body.
Yeah.
It explodes and barely scrapes the guy's armor. So yep, 1 landmine, like a fucking Scud missile. 7,
Oh.
8, 9 grenades, nothing.
That's just shrapnel. The landmine was full of like, other shit.
Sure, that was an entire cavern. Like fucking just boom. Oh man,
Uh, they set up a giant booby trap.
I guess so. The fight with the Yakuza dude was cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I think it was supposed to be a homage to the one with the Native American guy. When he
Right,
cuts
that
his
was what I
stuff.
expected from him.
Right.
And then we
We got
finally
to
got it.
see it, so it was fucking sick.
Right, he also actually won.
Yeah.
Which was a little. I was a
it
little
tie.
disappointed.
It was a tie.
I guess yeah, it was a tie. I just didn't like the whole scene in general though when it started. It was cool, but I do remember again like little nitpicky shit. Predators have been on record every time, 100% of the time, shooting the fuck out of anything that moves if they get the chance. And all of a sudden, this one's like, nah, I'm just gonna go put my life at risk and fight this dude in like hand-to-hand combat.
Hell
Since
yeah. I
when?
mean, they've done it in both the first 2 movies we've seen. They've done it at least once.
Nah, cause his gun was broken. Their gun was
Eh.
broken in both those times.
No, he still had weapons, and number one, he just took all his weapons and his armor off and said, "All right, I'll fight you 1v1."
No, it had like electricity on it. Because he fell in the water or something and said nee 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 and like got like electricity covered his whole shits.
Oh, maybe.
And that's
I
when he
don't
took it
remember.
off.
But they do engage in 1v1 combat if they want to.
And then in the second one, the only time he did it was after he had to pull out the spear. And then even when he pulled out the spear, he tried to hit him with the buzzsaw, because his gun was already
I could have
broken.
sworn in the first one he just threw off his gear and said, "All right, 1v1."
No, he threw it off after it broke. So that was like at least it made sense. And it's not impossible. I'm not saying like I know everything about every predator that's ever existed, and it's impossible they could ever do that. But it does seem like they're not gonna do that. Like, like we talked about, you're not gonna have like a hunter just go out and fucking fight a deer by hand to hand,
I
or
would.
like a lion. You have a gun, you shoot him. It's only when you don't have the gun anymore and you're put into a position where you'd have to that you'd engage like that. But I don't know. Maybe this guy was like trying to prove something. It
Those
was
are
like,
also
nah.
different predators because those are the. I was about to ask actually if you how did you like the difference in predators? Because in this one, those are a different hierarchy of predator.
Right, the tiny ones.
Yeah,
Well,
there's the big.
tiny
The, well,
air
the ones
quotes.
that fought in this one were the big ones. Um,
uh,
the
right.
tiny
Well,
ones they fought in the first two.
I thought it was a mix, right?
No, the first two it was the small ones, and then in this one, there's the three big ones, and then the one we fought, they fought in the first two was the one that was strung up. And what we not he wasn't specifically those two, but he's of that race.
Right.
Um,
I don't know. I guess it's fine. I didn't think much of it. I guess it didn't really add anything to the lore for me. Maybe it was supposed to, but I just figured like it just makes sense even in like regular human culture, at least back in the day, right? I'm bigger than you and stronger than you. I'm gonna come and kill all your people and I win. I'm the king now. Like, okay, what are we gonna do about it? We can't beat him up, right? So like that's kind of always how it's been. Is the bigger and stronger are the ones who make the rules. So to see that happen with their, especially like what do you call them, like warrior style, people, sure. Um, but I didn't care, I guess. They did look cool. They looked a little bit cooler with the mask off. A little bit more intimidating, I guess. But I don't know why they needed to do that. Like the Predators were already cool. Why did you have to make
this
Predator
this one
2.0?
came out. This one came out after AVP. Um, and in AVP they start making the predators more of like a good guy.
Oh,
Actually, they shouldn't even do the 1v1 because I think I was reading some lore and they said that only the smaller ones actually want a fair fight and want to do 1v1 combat.
interesting. That also makes sense because every Predator so far, I mean, he did kill like an entire gang of people in
Yeah.
like the first two, but at least the first one was always one at a time, and the second one he killed a bunch of goons, but it was only him. So he
Well, I
wasn't
mean,
like
they'll
ganging
honor
up with
like
his buddies.
if somebody looks like they want to do a 1v1 hand to hand combat, they'll honor it and stuff like that.
Right. Wait a minute. Yeah, hold on. In number two, when he fights dude in the alleyway,
Yeah.
um, because he could have shot him, but then he pretty much hopped down, and when the dude pulled
Yeah.
the sword out and said, "Come at me, motherfucker," or whatever, he went and he fought him with
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
his thing. So yeah, I guess they will accept that.
If they seem strong enough, I guess, because I think some of them they just said fuck it, whatever.
Right, because he did still well, no, he at least walked towards him menacingly, the rookie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess it just all depends, right? But overall, yeah, the new, bigger, scarier, better. I don't need it, but I don't think it hurts. It's still cool because then it just makes more depth of like, oh, we see one of those later. No, it's not one of those. It's one of these, and it's like, ooh, they're different, and then they can kind of explore. It's a cool
These
way to
ones
start
are
expanding.
bad. They're assholes. They hurt our predator, our nice predator.
Right, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, they're not nice. Predators suck.
Mhm.
They kill us for sport, all of them. So yeah, making him into a hero is a bit weird. Um, Making him into like a total bad guy, that makes sense. He's not really a bad guy per se. He's a
Yeah.
hunter. But yeah, making him like the
The-
friendly neighborhood predators.
I don't think they answered if it was the small ones or the big ones that brought them there, but if it was the big ones, uh, it seems like it makes them seem like worse because they're like, oh, they're not even willing to go to Earth to be discovered and killed like that. They'll rather bring their prey here and hunt them there in their homeland.
I think it's just like it's we'll call it the government, I guess, or
Uh,
some governing body because all of them on the planet, the three big ones, died,
Yeah,
and they still dropped new goons for them.
maybe. Yeah,
And they also said that the predators fight over the prey that gets dropped.
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, so it's just like a hunting grounds. It's like you just go here. It's like open season, right? Then you just show up at this time of year, and there's a bunch of people to go kill. And then hey, I'm getting that one. That was mine. It's like no, that shit was mine. I called it. You didn't call shit. I was already aiming down sights. And then they fight. No, fuck you. No, fuck you. And then the predators fight, and then rinse and repeat. But so that's kind of how I would imagine it. Is that it's like some game preservation ran by a group of them, and
hmm
then whoever wants to show up and fight can. But I guess it's been predominantly ran by the bigger ones because they can just bully the tiny guys. But they're not that much smaller. And they all have the same technology, so I think they all have pretty equal chances to win. Except for in like a fist fight, because the bigger ones do seem a lot stronger and more like resilient.
yeah.
Um,
We'll go back from the top. They killed Cuchillo. They used him as bait, and then they mimic his voice. Help me!
that was a good one too. I already called it, or at least I seen it. I said, "Don't do it. It's a trap. It's a trap."
Always,
Every
always.
time.
At least they knew it.
Right? Um, so yeah, there was that, and then
I would say at least they avoided that cliche. Most cliches have them go, "We gotta save him," and then somebody die. Uh,
right, these are a bunch of grizzled bad motherfuckers. I expect them to not fall for that dumb shit.
Not true. We had a dumb doctor.
Yeah, whatever.
He
He's
was
not
an
grizzled.
innocent young man.
Right, he's not grizzled or badass, but he still counts, I guess, as he's not being totally dumb. But I could see him or the inmate falling for it pretty easily.
Well, the inmate at the time was like, "Ah, we're gonna leave him, right?"
That
Fuck
shit was
that.
funny, right? He said, "Hell nah, fucker's gone." I love
I'm
it,
in here for me.
right?
I love it. It's like right after that was I think the fucking gun scene, right? Because there was like
Oh, the dogs.
everybody fucking gets startled. Yeah, no, that was after the dogs. The
Oh, was
dogs.
it? Then we
Oh
skipped the
no, yeah, it was.
dogs.
Yeah, no, we skipped the dogs because the gun scene was before the dogs. Yeah, because he pointed, Kuchio pointed at him with the two submachine guns.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, "Give me a gun. Give me your guns. You have two." He just points that shit. Hey, back up, motherfucker.
And Mombasa was like, was the one that actually like put a gun up to his neck.
Right? Because yeah, he
Yeah.
went to like fucking put a knife to him and said, "Give me your shit." And
Right.
then they had
Give
like a
me a
cool little
gun.
fight.
I'm ready to die.
Right? Hey, that fucker was serious. He said, "I'll take you with me." But
He
yeah,
didn't get that much.
the dog scene was
Yeah.
funny though, because that first dog had to have been the strongest dog that's ever existed, because that fucker took all what 7 of them, also
Yeah.
6. He didn't have a gun. All 6 of them, unloading entire clips into it. Nothing. Just keeps running at him until it finally gets close enough and gets blown away. And every dog after that took like at least a few shots and it went down. I was like, what the fuck was up with this first dog? Is it just bulletproof or their aim sucks that bad? All these trained professionals.
Freaking the fuck out when they first saw it.
You're still a trained professional. You don't forget how to aim. These fuckers have been under like crisis, under combat. They're trained to work under pressure. At least 4 of them.
Wow. Right.
Because it's you got the Russian military, the regular white dude military, the chick military. I don't know where she was
The
from. What
cartel
country?
guy.
Guatemala maybe something. No, that was like. I think that was where.
She
Huh?
Guatemala was the first movie happened, and she knew about the legend of it, so I'm gonna say yes.
Right. She was from something. I thought it was actually. I thought it was the chick from the first movie. I said, it's her.
You racist ass.
But yeah, they're at least the military
She's
ones
every
were
Mexican
trained.
lady, isn't she?
Huh?
I said she's every Mexican lady, isn't she?
Pretty much. I'm telling you. That's why I thought it was Michelle Rodriguez too. I said it's the same. I said okay, it's not her, but it looks just like her twin sister. Who the fuck is that? And then I googled her. But
I keep calling her Isabella. It's Isabel.
that's close enough. That's like my name's Dan. What's up, Danny? Shit, same thing.
She's from Israel. Okay, sure, why not?
Israel in that from that movie? She's like a counter-terrorist or
Yeah,
something. She's like the Zohan.
yeah, she's from the Israel Defense Forces.
I heard they're pretty badass over there.
Yeah,
Did we
they
ever get
are.
one of those in Siege?
Yeah, we got what was her name?
Alibi, right?
Nomad. Nomad.
Nomad? Oh, it was
Yeah,
Nomad.
I'm pretty sure Nomad was the she had the sticky gun. The gun that
Right.
shoots the little
Yeah, that was
the
Bert's
the
favorite.
customer.
Hilarious. Um, yeah, no, Alibi was Italian. How the fuck I could forget that? Her and Maestro, my favorite, my people.
Someone's gonna be mad at me if Nomad isn't one. No, huh?
Do what?
I said someone's gonna be mad at me. Yeah, no, she's not.
She's not.
She's Arabic. Yeah,
Oh,
it's from that area.
right. It's
It's all the
pretty
same.
close.
Moroccan. She was Moroccan. Oh, that's
That's
not even
okay.
close. That's not even. Whew. Oh well,
We'll just get canceled later. It's fine.
it's fine.
But yeah, no.
Hey,
So I figured,
I'm part of their people too. It's okay.
right. You're like pretty much 1%. All of that shit. So you're fine.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. You're actually all part Asian too.
Right.
You're part Filipino. You're part everything. Shit.
Filipinos Asian.
Probably part Brazilian.
Filipinos are Asian and Hispanic.
That's what I mean, right? So you count as them too. So that means you also count probably you're part Cambodian. Somewhere down the line.
Somewhere.
From the
Somewhere
Genghis
further
Khan
back.
too. Yeah, like you probably you got all that shit. You're good to go, dude. You can say whatever you want.
I got European. I'm from. I got Spaniard ancestors.
Right,
Like,
Spaniard shit
yeah.
also dates back probably to like
I'm
Romans.
Mr. Worldwide.
Bro, it's Mr. Telemundo over here. Don't tell Pitbull. Fucking copyright your ass. Oh, that's fucking hilarious, dude. But yeah, so that scene, that was a little bit weird. The first dog was for excitement factor and scare factor, but it looked really stupid that they just either missed every shot or the dog was bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
I gotta figure out where all this lore is from. Man. I looked up Isabel from this movie, and good God,
Oh, they got deep, like bunch of deep lore.
she came back to Earth. She joined Alf, whatever the hell that is.
Maybe this is all from Prey. Spoilers.
No, Prey does not have this. I
Oh,
watched
maybe
Prey.
there's others comics. I forgot. I heard the comics are really good.
Oh yeah, there is comics. There's comics. There's books. There's all sorts of shit.
Right. Someone told me you gotta read the comics. They're fucking awesome. I was like, well,
I believe it. Yeah.
yeah, I do believe it.
They're Marvel too.
So,
They're Marvel comics. So
hey, that's always good stuff. I like actually, you know, makes really good shit. I think Dark Horse. They're a
Yeah,
publisher.
Dark
They don't
Horse
really.
is
I don't know how
great.
much writers they have, but a lot of
I don't
Dark
know,
Horse
man.
shit is like really good.
Yeah, Dark Horse. They publish manga too.
Right. Let's see. Dude, she was fucking ready. When that dog was coming and she was like out of bullets, she said, fuck it. Put that shit to her head. She said, you're not gonna eat me alive. I said, oh,
Right.
is she serious? And the fucking doctor, he said, no. I was like, oh man. That shit was serious. That was a good scene.
How you feel about the doctor going, no?
On retrospect, that is the sickest motherfucker. Because he was so he was like, I was supposed to kill you.
Yeah, that's how you took it. I took it as, no, you can't fucking die. You gotta protect me.
That's how I thought it was. Oh, and at first I thought he was just a doctor, so he cares about life.
Right.
So he was
That's
like,
how I took it the first time as well. So.
but on retrospect, it was like he's a piece of shit. So and he was like
And he
after
wants
her
to
the
kill
whole
her.
time. So I was like, yeah,
Right.
he wanted to get his fetish off, and if someone else kills her, he doesn't get the
Dude.
chance.
His fucking relationship with the Russian. I said, this is so wholesome. This Russian is protecting this idiot.
Right? He even came back for him when he
Taylor-
left him. I said, damn, son, he left him. I said, but hey, it makes sense. I was like, he's a military dude. He knows what to do. And then he came back. I said, oh, the Russian's back. And then the fucking
Even
doctor
when
just
when he was,
left
like,
him.
talking with the convict, with the convict was like, he wants to fuck bitches and shit. And he said, oh yeah, 5 o'clock, bitch fucking time. And the
Right.
fucking doctor, he walks up to the Russian. Russian goes, stay away from him.
Right? He said, yeah, you're right.
Uh,
That fucker's
Bruh.
funny. Now, I'd also, again, to bitch about little nitpicky stuff that it's just annoying. They're walking within, I'm going to be generous and say 2 feet from each other. And that fucker turns the corner and, guys? Billy?
Billy, is that you?
I'm gonna get naked and take a shower. I'm like, dude, are you fucking serious? Like, they're right there. They're in a fucking line. Some of them are like touching shoulder, like my hand is on your shoulder, walking in a fucking unit. And this
I will
dude,
say it was smart that whenever the Asian got lost, the next seat, or not the Asian, when fuck, the doctor got lost. The Yakuza guy. The next scene when they're all walking away, the Russians walking away, the Brody's walking away. The Yakuza guy grabs one of their backpacks while they're fucking walking away. I'm like, that's. He's like, I don't want to get fucking lost. I don't want to get left behind.
Right. I did, dude. I hoped that like he would
So
just never
I'll
speak the
take
whole
that
movie.
scene where he got lost just so I can have that one little moment where the Yakuza guy grabs that guy's backpack. Oh yeah.
I guess. I mean, he had to get lost anyway. I guess to start that. But it felt
Yeah.
so bad because like the shot before they were all together.
Right, they were
The-
right next to each
Yeah,
other.
the very
got distra-
next shot,
To be fair,
he's
I probably would have
alone.
been complaining if he got distracted by something and then walked off.
Right.
Which is how most of the time it happens. But that time he was just walking slowly and then he fucking turned. They turned a corner and then he looked around and they were already gone.
Right. I'm like, they're not running. They're not like they're fucking sprinting. You know.
Right.
It was so fucking like poorly executed. You're right. All he had to do was like hear a noise, and turn to look for look for the predator and get scared for like 10 seconds, 15. And then he turns around and there's like a corridor with 3 different passageways and it's like fuck. And then he just picks one. You don't know if they went left or right or whatever, right? And it's so easy to execute that fine. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I said it cuz I don't want to say great cuz it's always a bit cliche, it's just someone gets lost randomly. But you can still execute it good enough that I don't think anybody would notice or like it wouldn't feel weird.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely that shit sucks. But I like that the dude didn't speak the whole time, and I wish he would have never spoke. I say I hope he just either can't speak English
The
or
Yakuza
never
guy?
fucking speaks. The Yakuza dude.
Yeah.
It was so cool. Then he finally started like literally seconds after I said that. I said, "Man, I hope he just never speaks." Then he starts talking. I said, "No, no, no! You ruined it."
What was it? Fish. We didn't really talk about Fishburne's character before he died.
He was just really cool.
It was cool. He had a fucking samurai helmet with a fucking predator thing on the front of it. That was cool as fuck. I want that. I
Right?
want that helmet.
Shit, it's probably in somebody's basement.
He
2
was
million.
talking
2
to
million.
himself. It was fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, he was really good. I also just didn't like though that they do this in every fucking movie ever. They go to like a new planet or a new world or something, and there's always one person who's just like
Survive.
them, and it has to teach them the ways and take them to their hideout. Every time. And I don't know if it's necessary or not. That's my question, I guess.
I mean, ultimately, he only really he supplied them with more shit, right? More grenades and things.
Which was
he
cool.
didn't supply them with it. It was it gave the plot a reason to give them more gear and stuff
Right.
at this point in the movie.
Which was well executed because I was thinking, I said, when the fuck? Like, I said, Yakuza dude has what, 15 bullets in that gun? He's gonna be out. I said, these fuckers don't have infinite ammo. And I
Right.
was just thinking, like, so what the fuck is, what's gonna happen with that? So they did a really good job at, like, yeah, you said, like, smoothing that into the story very seamlessly.
Yeah.
And I love Fishburne's character, and I love everything about it. So I don't mean to say that it was bad. It just happens every time. It's like we're going to, if they did it with fuck. Now I can't think. Didn't they do it in Siren too?
The
The manga.
The manga? Well, kind of.
Because it was like we
Yes.
go to this new world and there's always one person covered in a shroud and says this way, and they have like a fucking base, and it's always the same in every movie. It seems like.
Sort of. So it was the guy. There was a guy that the main character, not the main character, the big buff guy with the faux hawk.
Mhm.
He came in there looking for his friend, and then they found his friend. They beat him. At least I don't know how far you got into it, but
I don't think I finished it.
I don't know what section you got to, but
Right.
you got to the part where they. I don't know what part you got to.
I won't remember anyway. The last thing I remember was
Oh well, they rescue the Bohawk guy's friend, but he can't come back with them because he lost his card, so he has to go find it before he can come back with them. And the Bohawk guy eventually goes with him, and he's the one who's covered in shroud. Whenever they get attacked and they lose a battle, he goes with the guy, and he's covered in a shroud. So yes, it did happen, but at least it was laid out way early on.
right. At least it like had some continuity.
Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to think of other stuff they do. It's so obvious how many times they've done it, but now I can't think of a single example for some reason.
Right.
I want to say they did it in
They do it in a lot.
they did it in Aquaman, but it wasn't the same. when he finds his mom.
Oh yeah,
It
she's
was
in
it
the.
was a similar effect, but it wasn't the same.
They did it in Ant-Man 2. Whenever what's her name's, but they're going there to save her.
Right, right,
So
right. So that's a bit more allowable, I guess.
right,
Um,
they already know she's there. She's not just some random person in a hood.
right.
Uh,
The fucking guru shows up with like a base and everything. It's like,
They
yeah,
do it
I've
in a
been
lot of
fighting him
things.
for
I will
20
give you
years.
that, but and some are a little more acceptable than others.
Right. I guess it is funny though how different all of those were. They all
This
feel
one makes
exactly the
sense
same.
though, because they're just constantly doing it, right? They just keep dropping people in.
Right. Somebody's
They're
bound to
not gonna,
survive, right?
right.
So yeah, and that's why I say I don't mean to say it's bad at all. It's definitely it's fine. 'Cause I think it was pretty good actually. I loved it.
I mean, they do it in
Um,
One Piece during Thriller Bark. They show they're there fighting Moria. Luffy gets lost, and he runs into a bunch of pirates who have already lost their shadows, and they help him, and they teach him about the shadows.
right.
Um,
And I guess
so
that's where I was going with this because I remember thinking about this concept. I was like, why is it necessary in every fucking thing? And I
it
guess it's
shortcuts a
because
lot of
there's
things. They don't have to learn about the world. They don't have to. They just have someone there to teach them and tell them how to
right.
beat
It's
them
a quick
fast.
way to get them up to speed.
Yeah.
It's like how do we get everyone up to speed so we don't spend the next like forever having the characters need to fumble about and find their way through because that would take a very long time logically for them to be
Yeah.
able to interact with this world.
Right.
But I also feel like in some
We want them
cases
on the
it
back
wouldn't.
foot in the beginning, and then they have more gear and they have knowledge about this world. Uh,
Right. Another weird thing too, like when they were talking after they fell off the little cliff into the water.
huh.
He does that weird shit. He's like, "Yeah, why don't you tell him your secret, huh?" She's like, "What secret?" She knows what that thing is. I saw it in her eyes.
All right, that was dumb.
A little too over
Uh,
the top for me. I'm like, "What do you mean? You didn't see any of that. You're hyping it up too far." But what's funny is this is another one of those things that I don't know why it gets a pass in anime, cartoons, and stuff like that, and not for movies. Because how fucking anime is that? Like, it's one for one, it seems like. Even the doctor, like, when he had his, like, over the top nerdy shit, I said, even real doctors don't talk like that. Fucking, like, push your glasses up. Actually, that's a metaphorical something, 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 and it's a plant flora fauna, which does this. No one says that. No one even talks like that. But if I saw a fucking cartoon with, like, a gang of dudes, like, a group like this, going off on an adventure or something, I would 100% be on board if they had some wacky doctor who talked like that.
yeah.
But in a movie, I always think it doesn't work, and I just don't know why. Maybe there's a suspension of disbelief that like real people can't do that or don't do that or whatever. But when you watch like an anime or a cartoon or anything like that, it just bends the rules immediately. So when they do
Yeah.
something, it's like, oh fuck it, that seems normal enough.
Animation always has that effect, though. So
Right? It's
uh,
so much easier to just allow things, I
yeah.
guess, which is unfair, I think.
True. But that's what makes anime adaptations so difficult, or animated adaptations of anything difficult, because when you make it real, it just makes it harder to suspend your disbelief.
Right? Because yeah, there's even something on the lines of how they talk. Like people don't speak the way that they do in like cartoons and shit. You know what I mean? Like
Your
it's
move, Kaiba.
right.
Uh,
No one says that. It's fucking like I think like what does it call it?
I think people who go to when you go to tournaments and act like Yu-Gi-Oh characters are weird people,
Right.
right?
But then you watch it in the show and it's fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Even the way they laugh, the way they talk. Look at like Ed, and Eddie.
The grunting from yeah, from
He
Yu-Gi.
said Ed, and it was
Uh,
like normal.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, I'm the son of a shepherd. It's like that's just rolls off the tongue. I was like, yeah, he speaks a little weird. He has an accent, but that's just a normal accent. It's like, what? Who the fuck talks like that? You just don't think anything of it because it's like, yeah, that's the people. It's what they talk like, what they look like, how they walk, how they act. So it is interesting, yeah, that you know, it's harder to translate. Because he did something too. I can't remember what he did. It was another
Was this
scene in this
movie
movie.
like message don't help people, or was it help people? Because like she didn't her initial reaction to, hey, let's help this guy out instead of abandoning him, worked out bad for her, and his initial reaction of ditching them and then deciding later to come back for them worked out. I feel
Well, I
like
think
the message was
that's
kind of mixed.
beautiful.
I think it was kind of mixed.
That's the point, right? Maybe it's not the point, but that's my point. That's what I like. That's the good shit. That's real life.
I guess the point is sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly, and that's what it is, and it's up to you to make your own fucking choice on how you want to live.
Right.
Because he would have got blown the fuck up had he ran away that time.
Yeah. He would've
So
got blown
it's
up in the
like-
fucking...
Shit, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Like, for example,
I
she...
when I was watching it, I was like, oh, look, it's not going to work out for him because he's on the ship. He abandoned them. Now he's dead. And then she's going to, right. I was like, before it blew up, I was like, that guy's going to fucking blow up that ship and he's going to be dead. And then what's her face is going to it's going to work out for her. And then it didn't work out exactly like I said, but I was like, all right, now I'm confused.
Right.
But,
No,
it
it
did what I
was-
didn't expect, so I was all right with it.
Right. Now, I will say it was so, like... For me, as soon as he went to that ship, I said, God damn it. Something's gonna happen, and he's gonna have to come back and save him. Stupid fucking ending. I wish he would have just left and died. That would have been so fucking, like, appropriate. And it just didn't
Yeah,
work.
but then who would save her?
That's what I mean, right? That was the second. I already figured that was going to happen. I said, here we go. Super cheesy ending. Let's just not ruin his character, but, like, let's just completely shit on the last, let's say, 20 years of experience he's had. Everything he's had in his life to shape him to who he is now. Well, let's just throw that away for, like, 6 hours of combat with a bunch of strangers. No big deal. He's never had combat with strangers before. Clearly. As a mercenary, he's never done that. Like, it's like, come on, dude.
I guess her innocence and her willing to believe in people got to her.
Boo!
It works in anime.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't work here. These are real people. He was not fucked up in the head, but he was already grizzled and beyond that point. How many people do you think he's watched die? Friends he's
lot.
had. People
A
try
lot.
to convince him. She's not the first one probably to try to convince him in the last X years. He's been a fucking mercenary.
They've all been the same the way he is already. They've
Yeah,
all been
right.
like, yeah, no, you're right. We leave behind people who throw it down.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I think the ending was so cheesy, especially once he betrayed her. That's how I knew it was over. I said, God damn it. I already figured it happened. Now it has to happen. And it just ruined all the suspense and all, like, I don't know, made the ending feel so cheap. I was like, ugh, whatever. It was still cool, though. The fight he had was fucking cool. He put the flames up so he couldn't see.
Yeah.
Started kicking his ass. I wish he would have actually kicked his ass, though. He had,
kicked
like,
his
what,
ass,
six hits in the face with that spear or whatever it was? Just fucking stab him.
Also, she had told them the thing can't see you if you're like covered in mud. What the fuck weren't they doing that from the beginning if they already knew?
Also, he needed more mud. That
Oh, yeah, I don't
fucker
think
had a couple sprinkles of dirt in between his ripped, chiseled
you saw how
abs.
much Arnold had in the first movie compared to him.
Right. I was like, this is bullshit, dude. This fucking fan service. I said, Arnold is obviously one of, like, the hottest dudes of the time. He's, like, the fucking biggest, buffest, sexiest man. Maybe, I don't know about his face. I don't know if women would look at his face or not. But he had the muscles. And even he covered it all up. There was fucking cakes and cakes on dirt. Like, it worked the way it was supposed to. It was realistic. This fucker sprinkled some dirt on to make his abs look more chiseled and fucking ran at him. I'm like, come on, dude. You gotta cake that shit on there. Like, that just ruined my, like, experience in a way for it. And yes, I'm the first person to bitch about tits and abs or tits and ass. But, come on. I don't know. This one felt, like, egregious. Because I get it. You have to have your hot scenes. You gotta, bring the people to the movie. Sure. I always complain, but it's more of a half-hearted, joking, I get it kind of thing. I think this one truly missed the mark. Like, he needed to be fucking caked in it, like Arnold was, to keep it authentic to not only the movies, but to the lore. Like, that much dirt and mud is not going to really help you. He's still going to be able to see something. So I thought it was disappointing. I think that's how it feels mainly. I was a little more upset when I first seen it, but now looking back, I'm like, just disappointed. They dropped the ball. But obviously the scene was still cool. It was still fucking awesome, their fight, and all the pyrotechnics and everything was really well done. It was well shot. I was like, fucking awesome scene. So that's why I say I'm more or less disappointed, because it didn't really ruin the scene at all. It just could have been better.
That's pretty much everything.
That's most of it. This movie is, I don't know. I was thinking this morning, I said, that movie is cool. And then, like, I couldn't remember
It's all the stuff you liked from. I guess they heard you, Trey. They were like, all right, people only like the stuff when there's action and the predators on screen, so we're gonna do it right from the start.
Yeah. This literally was, like I said, this is the perfect fucking Predator movie. But it's also not a good action movie somehow.
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm missing. Like, what is it? Let's dissect this, because I figured, yeah, I was like, we kind of covered most of it. But if I'm going to shit on it, I need to know why. Because I don't even know why I think it was not very gripping or whatever.
Hmm.
I think it's because the Predator, there's no stakes when it comes to Predator, I think.
Mhm.
And it's because the stakes are artificial, because the Predator also, like, would have just fucking killed them. I think that's why I mentally check out from the very beginning, because it's so unrealistic on the fact that they're even allowed to fight back. You know, like, they sick the dogs on them, and it's like, then they just pull them away before they kill all of them, and it was like, yeah, we just did that to flush them out. Then why don't you fucking kill them? They're there. Your whole job is to hunt them. They're there. Go kill them.
Or they're busy fighting the small predator.
Maybe. That's not impossible. But then after he was chained up, they chased them out of the forest, right? When they're shooting them all before they jumped
Yeah.
over into that waterfall.
Mhm.
You knew that they fell down that hill. You watched them. You watched them run in that direction. You could have went over and watched them in the water and watched them crawl away. Like, they had fucking surveillance drones. There was that hawk. They sent like that fucking mechanical hawk to go like find them. They know where they're at all points in times. And they're loud as fuck. Like Fishburne told him. He was like, you're really loud. I can smell you and I can see you and hear you and everything else. That means they know you're here too. Okay. Then why haven't they killed them? Like, it's just stupid. So many times. And then when they finally show up, they just start killing motherfuckers quickly. It's like, yeah, you're dead, boom, boom. I'm like, so they're killing the fuck out of all these people pretty quickly and pretty easily. But then I'm just supposed to believe that the most advanced killer and tracker who's been doing this since like the 1800s or earlier, 1700s, they've been doing this for this many years, just all of a sudden forgot or is incapable of tracking you? Like, no.
Yes.
Fuck that. It's so unbelievable. And I don't think I notice it while I'm watching because I'm just there for the action. But I think subconsciously I'm just mentally checked out because I'm like, yeah, whatever. The Predator's just a set piece. He's there for like some wow factor, but he's either going to die when they want him to die, either inconveniently or stupidly, or he's going to kill them when they want them to die to make the movie progress. And he could have killed them at any point in time, so I'm just kind of waiting for it.
Right.
And then the final fight is just going to be a cool final fight, but it's also like he has to win. It's against the Predator. So like, I don't know. I think I just mentally check out because all of the action and stuff doesn't lend itself to like interesting things. It's not interesting. It's cool, but it's not interesting at all. And when I think about good action movies, they're interesting because there's just stuff going on. And obviously, like the easiest one, low-hanging fruit, would be Taken. Every single scene, from start to finish, adds interesting things. Because the first scene, he's like protecting a pop star. It's like, oh, is he like a Secret Service kind of guy? What does he do? And then it's like, what is his title? You know, he's working for a pop star, but he seems like a pretty badass dude. And then you find out, okay, now he has family problems, like at home. It's like, oh, he's got family issues. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's more interesting. And then boom, she gets fucking taken. I think you could argue there's a bit of a lull when they go to Paris and stuff, but it's also setting up them getting captured. So I'm like, what's going to happen? How are they going to get captured? I know it's coming, but I'm like, what's going to happen in between? Because anything could happen. It's, exciting. And then it happens.
Mhm.
He calls, and now we're getting to learn more about him and his skills, which that line is still fucking awesome. So then he goes, and then he ends up going to like this place and that place. He talks to like the fucking police over there, and then like you fucking see he has old buddies over there in the system. And it's like, whoa, he has buddies over here? What's he gonna do now? Then it's like he goes to this crazy drug house. He fucking finds this other dude. Finally, he finds the guy on recording who he's looking for and fucking myrtleizes that dude. And it's like, but what does he do now? So it's always interesting. I'm always wondering what's next, what's gonna happen. And the I guess you could say the bad guys, like the police and all the people who are after him, they can't get him. They almost get him, and they're trying. But the way that he escapes in all those different situations is very believable, very realistic. It's gripping. Because it's like, they're going to get him! Then they don't get him. And you think, well, obviously they're not going to get him. He has to save the day. It's like, no. Many an action film will have them get caught, and then they have to break their way out. It's like, well, how's he going to break out? Because now he has to break out. I think that's kind of where action movies do it right, even though they do it cliche. They say let's say they have like a box of tricks. It's like 5 different tricks you can do. Well, you never know which one of the 5 is coming. So that's what makes it gripping and fun. It's like, well, what's gonna happen next? Like he's gonna win, but how's he gonna do it? Is it this or that, or does this happen? And then every now and again you get a weird gem where it's like, no, this happened and nobody saw it coming. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Even like, what is that stupid one when they're on the bus and you have to go 60 miles an hour on the bus?
I don't remember.
Oh, well, there was an action movie where they're like stuck on a bus and have to go
I
fast.
know what you're talking about.
Even
I
that
just
one
don't
was
remember.
interesting. It was gripping because every moment, like something's happening. I haven't seen it in forever, so I could just be completely misremembering this. But I remember it being interesting enough. I'm like, what's gonna happen? And I'm waiting because anything could happen. In this movie, I'm not waiting for anything to happen. I already know what's gonna happen.
Speed was the name of the movie.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, they had to keep the bus over 50 miles an hour and had I forgot his name. Keanu Reeves from
It's from everything.
yeah.
From Bill and Ted, actually.
Bill and Ted, Matrix.
No, we didn't talk about those. Like, I like doing that. They're picking like the weird film or like the one that like people less remember from. Like, an
Weird
actor.
film. That's the one I know him from. What are you talking about? That's my
You ask
favorite
anybody
Keanu
in
Reeves
modern
role.
day,
John
hey, what
Wick.
do you know Keanu Reeves from? You mean Cyberpunk? You mean Matrix? You mean this? You mean John Wick? Nah, Bill and Ted. They'll say,
That's
what's
what
that?
I knew about him from Bill and Ted way before anything else.
Well, it makes sense that released first, I think.
No, I think the Matrix came out. Wait, did it?
Matrix is
Bill
early
and Ted came out-
2000s, yeah.
Bill and Ted came out first. Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, what's that movie, Crank?
Does that have him in it?
No, not Crank. He wasn't in it. But what I'm saying is another
Okay.
action movie. Back to that.
Yeah.
It's another one it was Jason Statham. It's
Yeah.
interesting, man. It's like, what the fuck is he gonna do now? He has to keep going and keep doing this and doing that, and like crazy shit happens. So it's always interesting. Predator movie, not so much. Because I'm
I
just
guess
like,
they're expanding more of the lore for the Predator. That they were doing with this movie.
right. And I think it's because it needs. I'm not gonna say it needs more motivation. I think that
I would say a lot of these guys could be the main character. And
Right.
I don't know if that may have taken some of the oomph away from Brody because I didn't really think he was the main character the whole movie.
no, I think he was simultaneous main character, but he was never like I'm the guy, which I thought was supposed to be like that's what they intended. Like there was no main character in a way.
Yeah.
But then again, he was the guy who fought him at the end, and he
Mhm.
was also like the focus of many of the early shots.
Right.
So maybe I had to take that back. Yeah, maybe he's like the main character, but I guess I feel happier that there wasn't, in my opinion, a main character, because then everyone gets screen time. But I also think that's the issue too. I think this is where like the action I think falls flat. It's the complete fucking mismatch between the humans and predators. I think that's why I don't care. Because they're not going to win. There's no way they would ever win. Especially a fucking convict with no weapons, a Yakuza with a pistol, a fucking random ass doctor with a scalpel, dude with a shotgun, maybe.
Hey, you don't know how many people he killed with that scalpel.
Yeah, whatever. Go ahead and fucking 1v1 an alien with it. Sure. Or fucking a predator. I guess predators are aliens, but you can't use that term interchangeably nowadays. Maybe the guy with the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
minigun? Sure. You got a minigun. You have a pretty good chance. The
Wasted a lot
sniper?
of those bullets early on.
You got a chance with a sniper, because you can fucking, snipe them. But they're invisible. But maybe she has, like, thermal scope on there, and maybe that's allows her or whatever. There's ways you could do a couple of them. But I think overall, yeah, it's just a
Imagine
mismatch.
she kills a predator using a thermal scope, the division that they're known for.
It'd be
How
cool.
fucking cool would that have been? Come on.
It would be cool. You think you're invisible, asshole? You're not the only one who can see in infrared. Boom! And just fucking headshot.
Right through the eye of the fucking helmet.
Yeah, that'd be sick. But yeah, it's not a battle. I think it's almost like we can see though they're getting closer, like you said. It's everything I wanted, only it's just poorly executed with like the power scale between the two. For me, I don't know. Do you feel like they had a chance, like realistically, since the beginning?
not since the beginning, but the way these predators have been dying or like uh losing. It was 3 predators versus like what, 8 people?
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. Yep, 8 exactly. And they lost. The one predator in the first movie decimated uh a fucking Black Ops unit that our teammates. They've been on missions together. They have
Right.
fucking teamwork.
Coordinated.
Yeah, fucking annihilated them.
Right. The one in number 2 killed an entire group of like armed to the T gangsters. Just fucking dropped
Right.
in on them, killed them all.
And these guys are supposed to be even better predators. They're stronger. They're bigger.
Right.
3 of them couldn't
3.
take out 8 people.
Yeah, I don't like it. The only one I say that was cool and acceptable was the Russian guy, because he was like, "Yeah, I got you now, bitch," and picked him up. He said, "Psych," and fucking blew his ass up, just like they do to the humans, which I thought was really cool.
Here you go. Remember I mentioned that Robert Rodriguez. Anything if he's in or if Danny Trejo is in it, Robert Rodriguez was involved.
Uh-huh.
Trivia: according to Nimrod, the director, and Robert Rodriguez on the commentary in the script, the character Cuchillo was described as a guy who looks like Danny Trejo. When Danny Trejo heard this, he called Robert Rodriguez and said, "Hey, I heard there's a guy in the script for Predators who looks just like Danny Trejo. Guess what? I look just like Danny Trejo."
That's fucking gold. He's like, "No, I know a guy. He looks just like him."
Of course I know him. He's me.
Fucking hilarious, dude. But yeah, that was cool how he killed him. I don't think the hand-to-hand combat was kind of cool. I like the fight scene, but you're not gonna win. It's a fucking predator. Like, he would have sliced you up. No way. Especially because they had already sliced up a bunch of samurai. Like, we saw the old samurai sword and old samurai shit. And those were the ones who lived it. We can imagine that those were like the ones who were at the height of like, you know, whatever era that like it was, you know, samurai were like the strongest fucking enforcers of the law and shit. So they were practicing every day, all the time with their swordsmanship. He's a modern day Yakuza. He probably practices with the sword, but not the way that they did in fucking battles constantly and shit like that. So you think he's gonna beat that guy? No. No way. I also imagine they have better equipment. So that's just a regular old-ass, dusty-ass steel katana. The fucking crazy alloy that their little spike has to be made of. Chop that shit in half. Or at least they're strong enough to have enough force to rip it from his hands, because they've been shown to be strong as fuck.
Right.
So I just don't know. I think that's the problem. It's such a mismatch. And I'd like to see it not be a mismatch, but it's the way that the story was developed of like, we're trapped here and we don't know what's going on and we don't have technology and we don't have our home base and we don't have anything and we're out of ammo, and they're so like, I don't know, I almost said wounded, but in a way, right? They're limited with like what they have. And if you look at all the best action stars, even when they're limited, it's like they always have the coolest shit. They're always making like fucking contraptions and cool stuff, and they always seem so confident and so well equipped for the situation, and they're like showing off all this expertise and doing all this stuff. We don't get any of that throughout the whole movie. Like, it's funny because it gave us what looks like what we wanted, but there were no action stars in this movie. Not until maybe the very end. It's weird now that I'm really putting it together. Hold on, it's all... Remember I talked about that movie laundering? They're movie laundering an action movie with an action movie this time, it feels like.
That's fine.
Because we didn't think about it for the first however long. When did we get someone truly show off, like, the fucking badass shit? The Jason Statham type shit. The Bourne Legacy type shit. Like, when do we get anything resembling, like, their level of expertise when they start, like, hitting the pavement and doing badass shit?
When after the Lord's Fishburne shit, maybe.
Not even then, right? Because they're just running away.
Yeah.
They're running away. The samurai has the fight. They continue to run, and by that point,
Oh, actually,
everyone's dead. Yeah, by that point, after the samurai dies, everyone's dead except the last 3 people. And even they don't do anything cool. The doctor sucks. He always has sucked. She doesn't show off any crazy cool skills or do anything. She just gets captured with him after his foot gets hurt. And then finally, he shows like a little bit of action hero cool stuff when he makes a little fire trap. And like the grenade trap, I guess.
Mhm.
But that's it. In the entirety of the movie. Well, she had a cool headshot early in the movie. Well, she said she missed. Never mind. No, she shot that dog. Or I think she's the
Yeah.
one who... Yeah. So there was one time, I guess. But not really. So maybe that's the problem. We didn't really get an action movie. We just got a bunch of people walking through the woods and dying.
There was action. There was some predator dying. Some guns being shot.
No. I mean, yeah, the gun's like, but let's walk through it again. They start off walking through the forest, walking through the forest. Hey, we need to rest. Continue to walk through the forest. Get to the enemy camp. No. Dogs first. Walking through the forest, they find the cages. And he says, yeah, there's cages. It's a dead drop. 5 times the weight. Something heavy must have been in here. And then they see the dogs. They shoot the dogs. A little bit of action, but a little bit weird on like how all the bullets and shit. And then after a little bit of action, more walking through the forest. They get surrounded by predators. A little bit of action, maybe, 2 minutes, if a little bit less. Then they're running through the forest, but then they fall off, go to the little thing. More walking through the forest. Then they have a little bit of action with that one predator. They used the guy as bait, which is fucking hilarious, by the way.
Mhm.
He said, Doc, I know how you're going to be useful. He said, fuck, just shoot it, please! So that was a little bit of action. That was kind of cool, but it also wasn't, like, so gripping or exciting. I wasn't like, whoa, look at that character doing something so unique only they can do and showing off their skills. Then they walk with Fishburne, more walking through the forest. They sit with him. They go to bed. He betrays them. I mean, it's a pretty really cool scene. I'm not shitting on it. I'm making it sound worse than it is. But they get done with that. The predator shows up. It kills Fishburne. Then it's more walking through the metal. I guess it's not a forest at this point, but you're walking through a drill. It catches up with them, kills the Russian guy. He makes a cool explosion, but there was nothing special. Anybody could have just had a bomb strapped to him. So it didn't...
The predator.
It was cool, but it was just very unceremonious. It was just, hey, boom, he's dead. The cooler
He did it
scene
to
was
save
when that
his
guy gets shot
friend.
in the back.
He fights for his friends.
I guess he
So does
does.
that guy. That guy also fights for his friends.
Right. When he fucking got up and he had like the armor on and starts stabbing that bitch and said, "Get the fuck out of here!" So I was like, "Oh baby." So that shit was cool. But it was still, it wasn't unique. It wasn't special. It was a fucking convict who stabbed a guy a couple times because he thought he was dead. There wasn't anything like gripping about that. It's not like, watching, something really fucking cool. Watching Jet Li beat the hell out of some people or some shit, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't feel right. Or didn't feel as gripping anyway. So then that's more walking through the forest. Then Samurai Dude gets his fight. Then more walking through the forest. Dude gets his leg hurt. More walking through the forest, limping now. Other dude leaves, walks through the forest, gets the guy, he unhooks him. Then more walking through the forest to the fucking ship. While they're walking through, gets captured, gets thrown in a pit, and then he walks back, and then it's the end of the movie after the fight. They spent a lot of time walking and doing a bunch of nothing.
They did do a lot of walking. But they do that in Lord of the Rings, too.
And
That's
Lord of the
a great
Rings is
movie.
fucking boring.
Oh, get out of here. You don't belong.
I'll
here.
say it.
Go away. Go away.
I'm not saying it's bad, but there are definitely moments, especially in the fucking extended, where I'm just like, guys, this is I need a Red Bull.
Non-extended versions?
Huh?
I said you watched the non-extended versions? That's blasphemy.
What? I watch both. You have to
No.
watch them, so they
You
have in the
only
theaters.
watch extended.
No,
Yes.
that's what like
You're
comes on TV and shit. Like I just, of course, I watch both.
You don't have the DVDs.
I need to pick them up actually. I was gonna go buy them, and every time I went to go buy them, I was like $30 for all of them. And
Okay,
like,
I never
all-
bought the DVDs. Kane gave me the DVDs when he got the Blu-rays.
But the problem was it was always theatrical. Every single time. You can't find the extended collection
I have the extended.
and without like going to Amazon or something. And I just like picking it up at Walmart or something. I always try and find deals. But anyway, so yeah, I think it was this movie was just kind of boring. There wasn't as much exciting action. Because I don't know, for me anyway, shooting guns and fighting, yes, it's considered action, but it's not exciting or cool if it's not cool. I don't know. How do you say that? If it's not like relevant to the plot or it's not like interesting for the character, I guess.
Mm.
Because like one of the most impactful things, I'm gonna just like, low hanging fruit, when he beats the shit out of that guy and Taken, his old buddy,
Yeah.
and he shoots his fucking wife in the leg. Holy,
Yeah.
holy! That blew me away. It still blows me away every time I see it. I'm just like, good fucking god! And all he did was throw like one punch, or no, he didn't even throw a punch, because the guy pulls the gun out, then he pulls the gun out, and then he shoots her. So one bullet. One singular bullet was shot, and people were talking. And that was a hell of a lot more gripping action than this movie had all the way throughout.
I will give that the tense situations were not tense enough.
Right. And how do they fix that? What did they do wrong? I guess I already explained some of it, at least in my opinion, is that it wasn't tactical enough. It wasn't.
I don't know.
It wasn't interesting enough. They didn't feel like special ops ever.
A lot of the scenes were maybe too long. They're spending way too long going, "This isn't Earth," right? Like you mentioned earlier, the magnetism scene, and then they literally walk out of the forest and they see the fucking planets outside in the skyline, or yeah,
Right.
or yeah, in the sky. Like, oh yeah, this isn't Earth, clearly. Oh, the one planet that was another one that was a hint that this isn't Earth. So
Right. Which is funny because he said, "Oh, it's just this, this, and this. It's a neurotoxin. I know all about it." I'm like, interesting.
right, he just instantly knows all about it.
We didn't touch on that one. That's funny. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know.
I'm watching the trailer right now, and like, cause I have IMDb page open, and it just plays the trailer in the top.
Mhm.
That scene where he had the fucking red dot over his head before he gets saved, Brody, or the main guy.
Mhm.
In the trailer, he has a bunch of red dots all over his body. So it's like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of Predators lights on him. False advertisement.
Right. I mean, it wasn't technically because there was more than one.
Yeah, but at that point of the movie, there was only one.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that.
All right, well, speaking of, yeah, we already went through the whole thing. What do you rate this one? Better than the first two? Not as good as the first two?
I don't
Better
know.
than the first one?
Probably the
Better
same, right?
Did you rank them both the same last time?
No, I gave number 2 a tiny edge.
think
I don't
gave number
remember.
two a less than the
Yeah,
first one.
so I think because I gave like number 1 a 6 or something, right? And then I think number 2 I gave like a 6.5.
Yeah, I think so. I think I gave number one, number one a 6 originally, and then I brought it down to 5.5 after number two, and I think I gave number two a 5.
Right.
So I'm gonna give this one a 5.1.
A who?
5.2.
5.2. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I almost want to go back and lower my other ratings too, the other
Dude, I
ones.
might want to lower this one.
But it's fun.
But it
It's
has
cool.
Machete. It gets a bonus.
I don't know. I'll say this. When I got done watching it, I was like, that movie was cool. Like a little kid watching cartoons, right?
Right.
And that's why I even brought it up that it reminded me almost of like a cartoon, like or a movie or an anime or something. And it was cool. But I also think just like cartoons we used to watch on Saturday morning, sometimes they don't age well. Or you forget about them or whatever, right? Like,
Right.
for as cool as Transformers Beast Wars was, go back and try and watch that shit again. Ooh. That is ugly.
Just the first couple episodes. They get a budget in the later bits.
Maybe I never went to the later bits, because I also actually seen the same thing happen with Ed, Edd and Eddy. I went back to watch it again, and the
Yeah.
first episode was so ugly. I said, there's no way. This show was not this gross. And it was like episode 2, it got better. I was like, oh, okay. It must have been like the pilot or something.
Right.
But yeah, I think that overall, it's like, it was so cool, and I would have given it like a 7 after I finished watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But the more we talk about it, the more I'm retrospecting on it, the more I'm just like, I don't know, it wasn't that good, even as an action movie. But, I mean, it didn't do, I almost want to say it didn't do anything really terrible, anything too wrong. But I also spent the last 45 minutes talking about all it did wrong.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'll give it a 6. I think a 6 is fine. Because it's solid. It's cool. The action bits are cool. The characters are cool. It is gripping a little bit. It's like, ooh, look at all these people. I wonder what they're going to do. And then they don't do anything. Maybe that's why I'm mad.
Maybe.
Because they're not special forces. They didn't do anything special. Also, I was still weird about that too. That they dropped in like fucking high-level mercenaries, fucking what would be Solid Snake, some Russian super operative with a fucking minigun, crazy sniper bitch who's killed thousands of people, and then they drop in a yakuza with a pistol, a fucking psychopath who like kills people and like probably what do you call them, unassuming, unprotected women, and doesn't put up much of a fight because he paralyzes them, a random gorilla with a gun, a fucking cartel dude with a couple guns, and an inmate like with a knife. These are not on the same level. These are not the same kind of people, and
You
half of
kidnap
them,
people who are killers and stuff like that, and just drop them
right?
in
But they're not capable of fighting a fucking predator.
for.
3 of them might be.
Well, we were told that these ones don't honor a fair killing, a fair fight.
It's not even gonna be a fun fight.
You don't know. Maybe they have a dog in them.
Whatever. It's not impossible, right? And it's also, think about it, if they're kidnapping how many people? This was within like 1 day, and they had a new set of parachutes drop.
Right.
You can only kidnap so many.
No,
You
no,
know?
no. They're getting a bunch of people. Like they grabbed the one guy who was about to be killed on death row. They grabbed a bunch of people that were in war zones, so they could be basically they're covering their tracks. They're because oh yeah, that guy died. That guy died in that fight. We couldn't find him. He probably died. He got kidnapped or something. MIA. He went MIA.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if they're doing this daily, 8 people twice a day, or 8 people once a day, you're eventually gonna like people are gonna start to notice. So maybe they have to get low-hanging fruit. You can't keep taking like generals and
Oh, okay.
badass people and
Yeah.
the strongest. They're gonna
Right.
fucking notice.
Right. They're just grabbing random people that are in war zones or are gonna or seem like they would die because they're living occupational. Except for the doctor, that still is weird.
Yeah, he's just a serial killer.
He
Well-
still doesn't count as like one of the people because like even the inmate they got was on death row. He was about to die in 2 days.
Right. Well, we don't know because the doctor lied the whole time.
Right.
We don't know what could have happened to him, right?
Mhm.
We also don't even know. I said he was a serial killer. We have no evidence to support that.
He said he was a serial killer.
He said he did say he liked killing people, but he never admitted how many or how. But I guess that's enough, right?
Yeah.
That's enough evidence that yeah, he's probably a serial killer. I guess I take that back. Yeah. But yeah, I just don't think these guys. They're not equipped. They're not trained. They're not gonna hold a fucking candle to a predator. So the fight
Mhm.
is always one-sided and not very interesting. And then they don't even the special forces people don't even do anything special or forceful. Like,
Mhm.
so like that's my problem with it. That's why they could have done better because everything I asked for is close. It's close, but it's not here. Because last time I asked that they would give me the foreigner, fucking Jason Bourne. I asked for John Wick. I asked for one of them to fight a predator 1v1, and we got a bunch of people who like seemed like they could be one of those, and then none of them turned out to be, and then the movie was kind of boring. So I think that this is good though. It's a step in the right direction from 1 to 2 to 3. I really think the next one, that's when they're going to do it. They've been getting better and better with each one. Well, not, I guess you could say better. It just depends, right? Focus. They've been getting more focused, it seems like, with each one.
Mhm.
I got high hopes. I think Prey's going to be the one.
Well, or the next movie is The Predator. So
What, The Predator?
yeah.
Son of a bitch. I thought we were almost done.
We got The Predator and then Prey.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
well,
we're watching the AVPs.
right. So I guess I mean, it sounds cool. The Predator. Maybe that's just gonna be cool. It's gonna be a 1v1. It's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be everything I ever wanted. You heard it here, folks. Next one coming is everything I ever wanted. But outside of that, I think I got nothing.
Yeah, I already gave my rating. You gave your rating.
Right.
Movie was the best Predator movie, right?
I think yeah, I'd still stand by that.
Okay.
Because it's
I
the
still think
most.
the first one's better. But again, I like the first one more than the second one. You like the second one more, so you think they're progressively getting better. I think it was kind of a up then down then up, then slightly up. Not like a big jump up, but
Right, right. I can see that. That definitely makes sense, yeah. Because does feel like number one was a little bit more contained, maybe?
mhm.
Purposeful, I guess? I don't know what word I would use. But I can see what you're saying. Like all the aesthetics and all of the
Ew.
storytelling in number one was
In the
pretty
comic book,
concise.
Edwin was slicing off part of Isabel's flesh uh, and eating it.
Ew, that's cool.
Yeah, Edwin's status of being a sociopathic killer, serial killer doctor makes him similar to Hannibal Lecter, which is even more apparent in the comic adaptation where he has cannibalistic tendencies.
So they told this story in the comics. Or I guess
Yeah,
this
they
story
did
was
a comic
taken
book
from the
version
comic.
of this one. Yeah,
Got you.
I guess it was extended in the comics. Um,
That's cool.
Neat. Okay.
Well,
Well,
like and subscribe. Engagement is good.
leave an angry comment or just like the video. Engagement is good.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye bye.